So the Champions League final between Manchester City and Inter Milan happened on Saturday night, and just jumping straight into it, in the first half nothing too much really happened, and for me this isn't that much of a surprise, because when you come into such a big game like this, the teams usually have a period where they kind of just feel each other out and they start trying to see what the other team is doing and see if what they are planning to do, so to see if their tactics will actually work. So really, that's really slow start I was basically expecting, and it kind of annoys me a bit when people complain about that, because you've got to think about it from their point of view. They're in a big final, both teams are going for a treble, and they don't want to get off to a really bad start, aka conceding a goal, aka getting a player sent off, which is very unlikely to happen. But so that start where they were kind of just passing it about, not really going in with that urgency straight away, I really didn't surprise me. So yeah, nothing too much happened overall in the first half, and it was kind of like a really slow start. However, Ederson did have a couple of shaky moments where he put in a bad pass, he took a bit too long on the ball, and it did look like he was quite nervous, if I'm honest, because I thought Man City were quite, well, not lucky, but they could have easily have conceded a goal from one of Ederson's mistakes. So that was one of the main points in the first half, Ederson having a few shaky moments, and then literally out of the blue, Haaland went through and had a good chance when he was more or less one-on-one with Onana. However, he basically put it more or less straight at him, and Onana dealt with it. So that was the only real big chance of the first half, if I'm being honest. And apart from that, it was quite back and forth really, like with the really half chances that they had, because in the first half there was only really half chances. It wasn't like there were any clear-cut chances except from Haaland when he put the ball more or less straight to Onana. But to be honest, I think that was quite a difficult chance. He was at an angle, a very difficult angle, and it would have been difficult for him to really put that in the back of the net. So yeah, for me, quite back and forth, and I think one of the main points from the first half was that Inter Milan really did press Manchester City very well. They put them under pressure very consistently, and in that first half, I think that may have been why Ederson had a few shaky moments in that first half, to be honest, because Inter were pressing Man City very well and very quickly. They were basically getting multiple players around the Man City player who had the ball, which obviously came with its dangers, but that didn't really affect them because I think they managed the game quite well. So the first half, going into the break, it was 0-0. Not the most entertaining first half, but I kind of expected it. So it picked up a bit more towards the end, but nothing too extravagant. So going into the second half, Man City started this very well. They were just linking up really well, and they were playing like the Man City we expect. However, early on in the second half, there was a bit of poor communication between the Man City players, and this actually led to a chance for Inter Milan. However, Ederson stepped up and made the save, so Inter Milan, first real good chance for them, however saved by Ederson. And then we get to the big moment in the game. So Silva just ran into the box, I think trying to either pull defenders away or trying to just create a chance out of nothing, from what I could tell. However, he must have seen Rodri near the edge of the box, because he just pulls it back to him, and Rodri puts the perfect strike straight into the bottom corner to put Manchester City ahead. And honestly, I did not see that coming. All I really saw was Silva just running into the box, and I was like, oh, he's probably going to take a shot or put it across, but no, he pulled it back very well, and Rodri just struck it beautifully, and it went straight into the bottom corner. I don't think he could have struck it much better, to be honest, unless he stuck it right in the top corner. But it was a goal in the Champions League final, the opening goal, and Man City were 1-0 in front. So after this, Inter Milan stepped it up attacking wise, and they had a great chance where there was a header that went off the bar, and then the ball came back, and then the next header went off Lukaku. So Lukaku more or less blocked it from getting on target. I'm not sure if it would have gone in, if I'm being honest, but yeah, so off the bar, then off Lukaku. After that, in between these, it wasn't really like much was going on. It was kind of like a chance. The chances now were just coming out of nowhere, if I'm being honest. And then Phil Foden just literally split the Inter Milan defence, split them apart, went straight through. There wasn't really anyone near him, to be honest. And then once again, it was saved by Onana. This was a very good save because Foden was trying to put it like right in the bottom corner, but it wasn't like directly in the bottom corner. However, Onana did still have to stretch to save it. So it was a good save and it could have easily have gone in, but Onana to the rescue again for Inter Milan, just keeping them in the game, just at 1-0. Then really towards the end, it was just Inter Milan going forward. I'm not sure if Man City were actually sitting back and waiting for the counter, or if Inter Milan were just not letting them really have the ball back. Anyway, there was also towards the end an incredible save from Ederson after a Lukaku header, where I'm not even entirely sure if he knew what was going on. I think what happened was the ball came in and then Lukaku headed the ball on goal, and then Ederson just reacted to it. He didn't specifically know what was going on. He just reacted to it and it went off his leg. And then Manchester City just held out from that point. There weren't really that many clear-cut chances after that for Inter Milan, but Man City did very, very well. After that, they kept the ball well and saw the game out to end up winning the Champions League 1-0. This could have been a very, very different game, if I'm being honest. But that save from Ederson at the end was just incredible, because it was just his reactions to just instinctively move. The instinct he had to move into that position, I mean, was just incredible. It's really what a goalkeeper at the top level really does at that point. So Man City see the game out to win the Champions League 1-0. So overall, for me, it was a game of very few clear-cut chances, and the goal didn't actually come from that. Well, at least I didn't think you could count that as a clear-cut chance. It was just Silva pulled it back and banged straight in the bottom corner. It wasn't like he went through one-on-one with anyone. You could argue it was a clear-cut chance, but it was a game of very few anyway. However, I do think Man City had the better chances, while Inter Milan, I got the feeling, were kind of sitting back a bit. So Man City were going forward and Milan were kind of sitting back a bit more. Not that they were completely sitting back, but I think they were a bit fearful of Man City going forward. However, I do think that was the right game plan for them, because they needed to make sure that Man City didn't just get an early goal and run away with it. Overall, I do think Inter were unlucky not to get an equaliser, especially near the end with that save from Ederson. Could have easily been 1-1. But then again, with Foden's chance, it could have easily been 2-0 or 2-1. So really, you could say those two chances cancel each other out. So overall, I do think it was a good game. It's just not one of those that I'd watch again, if I'm being honest. It wasn't really that type of game where both teams were going forward and it was a really end-to-end game. I thought it was kind of one of those where it got slow to start with, and it was just kind of in patches the game picked up, and then it went back to kind of that slow moving the ball around. It wasn't a terrible game, but it's just not one of those that I'd go back and rewatch personally. So those are my thoughts on the UEFA Champions League final. Let me know what you thought about the game down in the comments. Who are you supporting to win as well? If I'm honest, being a Man United fan, I would have preferred it if Man City didn't win. But I am sort of happy for them, because it's about time they won a Champions League. They've been contending for a long time. So leave the answers to those questions down in the comments. Also, any comments on the game or anything like that. Thank you for listening. Don't forget to subscribe if you like videos like this. And yeah, thank you for listening, and I'll hopefully see you in the next video.